Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wiggins 77 True Crime. Thank you for joining us. Everyone is welcome here at Wiggins 77. Thank you to everyone for the comments and hitting the like and subscribe buttons. I truly appreciate it. Today, we will continue to discuss the evidence or lack thereof in the Scott Peterson case. Today, we will begin to discuss the evidence. But first, I just want to mention in the US, there are too many people convicted due to the press and dodgy police work because they decide who they want to be guilty. Then they build the case around that person, even though the evidence points away from that person, which is what has occurred in this case. A good investigator will separate the emotion versus the physical evidence in a case. A good investigator, while listening to the many witnesses, must take what these witnesses say with a grain of salt, as unless you can confirm what a witness tells you with physical evidence, then what the witness tells you is their perception of events and not necessarily accurate. An example of this is everyone said that Scott and Lacey lived in a nice neighborhood where everyone knew everyone. Now, how often do you ever hear that? All the time. But it simply isn't true. Not everyone knew each other, and they lived very close to a park that was full of homeless people, drug addicts, and all other sorts that paraded up and down their street, Covina Ave, and that's a fact. Lacey herself had complained several times in regards to the homeless people wandering along their street. Criminal cases are like puzzles and how those puzzle pieces fit together. The first piece in this puzzle is Scott and Lacey's home, which is the last place Scott saw Lacey. We left off in the last episode with Lacey's stepfather reporting her missing at approximately 5:47 p.m. December 24th. The first police officer arrived at the park and met Lacey's mother and Scott at approximately 6:15 p.m. Then they went back to Scott and Lacey's house. The police asked Scott if they could search the house. Scott didn't hesitate, said yes, as the police searched the house with Scott present, finding everything that confirmed what Scott had told them he did. When he arrived home, the pizza box was on the counter, clothes in the washing machine. Mackenzie's leash was on the counter outside, where Scott had put it after taking the leash off of Mackenzie's collar. You see in this slide, as they were completing their walkthrough, they found Lacey's purse hanging in the closet. They emptied the purse, found all of Lacey's personal belongings within the purse, like her keys, her wallet, her sunglasses, everything. The police noticed there was no smell of bleach or any other cleaning products in the house. There were no signs of disturbance in any of the rooms. You see in the crime scene photograph on the left, the dining room table was set for Christmas dinner that they were to have on Christmas Day. The room is neat and tidy, as was the rest of the house, with the exception of the small rug crime scene photograph on the right. Both photographs were taken the evening of December 24th. Now, this is important as all the crime scene photographs and videos taken after December 24th do not depict the house as it was the early evening hours of December 24th. And the reason being is the police did not secure the house, so people were in and out, and the house looked totally different on the 25th than it did that evening of the 24th. Okay, this is when the tunnel vision began. Misleading statements to the press began. Anyone who owns these type of rugs and has pets knows that the two don't mix. This little rug is on a tile floor, which causes the rug to slide easily. It doesn't take much for a dog or cat to cause this small rug to have a scrunched up look. This is not evidence, yet that's what police said. They couldn't find anything else out of place in the house but this little scrunched up rug. And so they decided, he's guilty because of this scrunched up rug. Several forensic tests were completed on the interior of the house, including the use of aluminol or a same like substance which detects blood bleach. Nothing was found. No evidence that a crime had occurred in that house. This is a drawing by a police officer. It was presented in court of Scott and Lacey's home. So this is to give you an idea of the overall look. Okay, so on the bottom right, you see the unlocked back door that Scott entered the house. In the blue on the left, you see the location where Scott emptied the bucket and left the mop and bucket outside the door. Scott also collected the mail at that time when he put the mop and bucket outside the door. And just below that, you see the location of the washer and dryer in the closet in the family room next to the door that Scott used to empty the bucket, which was considered their front door. I also marked top left the location that Lacey's purse was found. That's their closet in their bedroom, Scott and Lacey's bedroom. In this crime scene photograph is of Scott and Lacey's vehicles parked in the driveway the evening of December 24th, when the police were completing their third search of the home on the evening of the December 24th. Now, I probably won't say this guy's name right. Detective Bro Hinky, or Hinny, this guy was a goof anyway, noticed the long rifles, asked Scott if he had any other guns. Scott said he had a handgun in his truck. The detective asked to search both vehicles and Scott agreed. Scott allowed the police to search wherever they liked without a search warrant. He didn't prevent them from searching anywhere they wanted. So this detective, Detective Brocchini, found Lacey's cell phone plugged into the cigarette lighter in her Land Rover. Now this detective, he if he had brains, he'd be dangerous. This guy, he said the cell phone didn't work. However, that wasn't true. And this was just the beginning of this detective's demonstrating how dishonest and inept a police officer he was. The phone worked. He just didn't know how to get the phone to work. After searching Lacey's vehicle, finding nothing, searched Scott's vehicle. This detective, Brocchini, I really should learn how to pronounce his name properly, did not follow proper police procedure in regards to the handgun, nor did he follow proper police procedure in regards to proper handling of evidence. This detective walked around with Scott's loaded handgun in his pocket. Like he took the handgun out of Scott's car. He didn't put it in an evidence box like he should. Well, first he should have cleared the gun, then put it in the evidence box. He didn't do that. He slipped this loaded gun into his pocket. And he continued to search Scott's vehicle, finding nothing. And Scott asked this detective, I'll call him Detective B, how's that? If they could take McKenzie, Scott and Lacey's dog, to see if McKenzie could find Lacey, like if they let her off leash. And this Detective B said no, they had their own tracking dogs, which was a big mistake to say no to that. In this photograph, you see Scott and Lacey's dog, McKenzie. Now, she's a golden retriever. They're very smart breed of dog. When Scott had asked the detective if they could use McKenzie to find Lacey, what the detective should have done was close the streets around the house all the way to the park. Now, they lived like a block and a half from the park. Okay, so it wouldn't have been a big area for them to have closed off. And then they should have let McKenzie go and follow her wherever she went. There is no better dog that would have had the ability to lead them to the last location the dog was with Lacey than Lacey's own dog. The defense should have filed a motion to have the dog tracking testimony excluded. There's plenty of precedent case law where this has occurred. There was testimony from the trial while the police dog handlers testified that their dogs did not pick up a scent. There was a private dog handler that testified that her dog tracked Lacey's scent, all over the place. This was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it when I read that testimony. Including this dog handler claimed that Lacey traveled in a vehicle. This testimony should never have been allowed in court, as this dog handler's claims are absolute rubbish. This is why the majority of courts do not allow dog tracking testimony. For the same reason, they do not allow lie detector test results in court due to both are unreliable. Just to give you an example, with lie detector tests, I don't know why people put so much faith in them because they're any good narcissist can beat a lie detector test. Um, the case that comes to mind is the Green River Killer. He passed the lie detector test, so the police took him off their list of suspects. And he went on to kill several more women. Okay? So this is why. And same with this dog tracking nonsense. People are in mistaken belief that the dog has the ability to sniff a piece of clothing or some other object. And in this case, they didn't even use a piece of Lacey's clothing. They gave, um, I think it was a sandal and her eyeglass case for the dog to sniff, which is it's just goofy. Um, it's rubbish. This dog does not have the ability to track a specific human. They have the ability to track human scent, but not a specific human. Like drug sniffing, bomb sniffing, and cadaver sniffing, and search and rescue dogs all go through intensive training to sniff those specific scents. And all of them are very specific scents, very strong scents. Search and rescue dogs are trained to search for the human scent, not specific humans. That is why when a person is lost in the woods, dogs will find the person as they are tracking the human scent, not a specific human. Another example is hounds that find the fox. The hounds do not find a specific fox, they find any fox as they are trained to find the fox scent. Lacey was Mackenzie's pack leader. Mackenzie was their golden retriever. So Mackenzie is the only dog who would naturally have gone to the last place she had been with her pack leader, Lacey, because that's her instinct is to go to her pack leader, who was Lacey. So it's very sad that the lawyer's defense team in this case did not, refute this testimony of even being entered into evidence from that private dog handlers because it was just absolute rubbish. But anyway, I'll stop ranting and raving and get on with it. Okay, a neighbor testified she found Mackenzie in the street near Lacey's home with her leash still attached. Now, these are important clues. Here you see at the top the entrance to the park. On the left, you see Scott and Lacey's home. Just below that, you see their neighbor next door's home, and this is where the lady that found Mackenzie lives, in the middle of the street. That you see here in the middle of the screenshot, there's Mackenzie. Okay, this is where the devil is in the details, and it is sad that no one pursued this lead properly. But that's not unusual. For some odd reason, police do not take animal behavior seriously at crime scenes, and why I don't know, because a lot of times if you look at the details of what the animal is doing, it can lead you somewhere. Mackenzie, she's found in the middle of the street with her leash still attached to her collar. So what does that tell us? This tells us that Scott had nothing to do with the disappearance and death of Lacey. And you wonder why. No one asked the question, if Scott killed Lacey, why was Mackenzie in the middle of the street with her leash attached when Scott wasn't even home? Like, why? The answer is Lacey was walking Mackenzie when she was abducted. I mean, Mackenzie's actions tell you that answer. Mackenzie was a friendly retriever who barked at everyone. Like when the police were searching the house, she barked nonstop. You can hear it on the video. She's found standing in the middle of the street looking south on Covina Ave. She's not barking, nor did she bark when the neighbor approached her. Why would Mackenzie all of a sudden change her habit of barking at everybody and not bark? The most common reason a friendly dog like Mackenzie would refrain from barking is she has been recently kicked or severely hit by someone. The direction Mackenzie is facing is a clue, as she is facing south, as if she is watching for Lacey to return, as that is a dog's natural instinct to watch for where their master return in the direction they last saw their master leave. So what I mean by this is an example of if you leave by your front door, your dog will wait near the front door when they hear you returning to greet you. Now, if you come in a different door, you'll see your dog waiting near the front door because the dog thinks, I saw you leave that way, that's the way you're coming back. It's their instinct. The neighbor testified that she picked up Mackenzie's leash, which was dirty with mud, leaves, and grass, so she'd been trailing it around. First, she went to the south gate that you see here on the left side of the screen. The gate was locked. The neighbor then went to the north side gate that you see on the right side of the screenshot to find the gate wide open. The gate wide open gives us another clue. Mackenzie was used to being off leash in the front yard of Scott and Lacey's home, but Mackenzie would never go into the street. She always stayed on the front lawn, and of course she would bark at everybody, which the mailman and others confirmed this fact through testimony at trial. The question no one answered are with the north gate open, why didn't Mackenzie wait in the safety of the backyard? Why did Mackenzie have her leash attached to her collar? And why is Mackenzie standing quietly looking south in the middle of the street? The answers to these questions are important facts that will lead to what really happened to Lacey. Please keep those thoughts in mind as I look forward to presenting our next episode where we will discuss some of the tangible evidence in the case. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to all your feedback. Please leave feedback in the comments section, or you're welcome to email me directly at ybentleyddavidson@outlook.com. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It's free. Until next time, always remember, every day is a gift.